Do you see fucking Scott Morrison, our Prime Minister, getting in heaps of trouble for saying some pretty reasonable shit? Julian Assange, that WikiLeaks dude, he's getting fucked over. That guy's beyond help. That really fucking bums me out, man. What's happening to Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks guy, who all he did was publish the truth. They're gonna put him in jail forever. So he's locked up in the Ecuadorian embassy. I like how the news. Man, it's so fucking... It's scary how transparent the collaboration between the news and government is. Like, I don't want to get all Illuminati on you here, but did you notice when the government started moving on Julian Assange, trying to get him out of there and restricting his shit, right? Ecuador took away his internet connection, and then everyone lost their shit about that, and then just miraculously, the week after they took away his internet connection, his connection with the outside world, all of a sudden, all of these different news organizations started posting articles about how Julian won't clean his room and he won't clean up after his cats, and how much of a slob he is and how much of a burden he is on the Ecuadorian embassy. And we should probably get him out of the Ecuadorian embassy because the poor embassy can't deal with him not cleaning his room. Isn't that bad? Maybe a better place for Julian Assange, I think you would all agree, would be a maximum security prison where he coincidentally gets stabbed to death for no reason, and we never find out why. Maybe we should do that just to make the Ecuadorian embassy employees feel better, right? That's what the news was fucking saying. This giant news campaign about how Julian Assange is like a slob and disrespectful and he doesn't look after his cats. And I read this shit and I'm like, you know what? That's all probably true, because I guarantee you that guy is depressed as fuck and probably going crazy because he's been locked in a fucking bedroom for the last decade. And they just took away his porn. Dude, I would neck myself. I'd be like, oh, what? That was the last thing. That was the last thing I enjoyed. I don't even run WikiLeaks anymore. I got fucking interns doing that shit from Switzerland. But now I can't jack it off to MILF porn. What the fuck? This sucks. I'm not gonna feed my cat. So transparent. The news like slandered him, called him a slob. You see all the fucking boomers on Facebook comments going, oh, we should get him out of there. He's a bloody traitor. Oh, who did he betray? Who did he betray? Fucking no one, right? He just told you what the government was actually doing. Because she's had too many dicks and way too many drugs, Pamela Anderson somehow is involved in this shit. Pamela Anderson is involved in this shit. She's some political fucking ally or whatever. And she's some political activist for some reason, because of course everyone's going to turn on Baywatch, look at those tits and go, hey man, she's got some shit to say. Fuck Noam Chomsky. I listen to Pamela Anderson. I don't know if she can read, but fuck, she looks good when she reads whatever some other idiot wrote down. Right, so Pamela Anderson's like campaigning. Which, by the way, Pamela, I'm sure she's a lovely lady and she's doing the right thing. I think that he should be free. But I'm also a cunt, so I think anything's funny, even if it's bad. So Scott Morrison, our Prime Minister, he did some interview, right? And he goes on, and Pamela Anderson was lobbying him to, like, say something about Julian Assange, because Julian is Australian. So she was going, hey, America is trying to lock up a fucking Australian forever, and if you just let that happen, you're complicit. If you don't say anything, you're helping it happen, which I think is true. And then so they asked Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister, about it on radio, and he said something like, oh, well, I've got a few friends who would like to escort me to that interview. Basically saying, so someone was like, it's just so disrespectful and Australian. I fucking loved it. I thought it was refreshing, right? So the interviewer was like, so Pamela Anderson has made a very big call, and she has said that if you do not speak up for Julian Assange, you will be complicit in putting him in jail for the rest of his life. What do you have to say to Pamela Anderson? Would you do an interview with her? And then Scott Morrison went, yeah, well, I don't know about a bloody interview, but I tell you what, I've got a couple of mates who'd like to fuck her with me, if you know what I mean. I'm the Prime Minister. Someone asked him a serious question. He goes, I don't know, mate, but I'd love to fuck her, that's for sure. And so would all of me friends. Let's run a train. Yeehaw, I'm an elected official.